I am here with Jessica Walsh, our very first Dynamic Mom of the Month winner. So she is our Dynamic Mom of the Month for January of 2019, and she is going to be on our launch of our website when it launches on January 1st. So were you excited when you found out?
Super excited.
And you got like a pretty significant amount of like very generous prizes from some other dynamic moms that contributed.
I did. I'm excited to use them.
And we're gonna list you guys on the bottom of everything that we write here. I'm gonna list for you guys who contributed to that. So let's hear a little bit more about Jess. And you guys might notice that, you know, because we're dynamic moms, you might hear some kids in the background. That's just the way it is. But
maybe stinking right around this video right
yes,
now.
Right, yep. So I'm gonna ask Jess some questions. And do you want to start over? Or are you okay?
Okay, it's fine.
All right. I'm going to ask Jess some questions and get a little bit of info about her to find out what makes her so dynamic. So, Jess, how many kids do you have?
I have 3 boys. Right now they are 10, 8, and 5.
And you work full time, right?
I do, yeah.
What do you do?
I am a school librarian.
A librarian.
A librarian.
You don't meet many librarians.
I do, but not everyone does. No, and it's a changing profession right now. So where it used to be just kind of story time and reading, and now it's really about integrating technology and research and really teaching kids to evaluate information, which everyone needs to do.
So you go from working with kids all day to coming home and being with kids.
I do, and the
Right.
same ages too, because my kids are all in elementary school, and I'm an elementary school librarian.
And look, what is that like for you?
So,
Do you feel like I know for some people that I know who work during the day, it breaks up their day, but I have heard from other women that I've met who are teachers that they feel like their day has some level of monotony. Do you feel that way?
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like I give so much energy to the students that I come home and I'm like, okay, like I have to keep some back for my own kids and make sure that I'm listening to them the same way I would listen to my students at school and trying to give them that one-on-one attention that they deserve too.
Oh, see, that's a challenge that I didn't even consider.
Yeah. Because you give a lot at school. Like, you're trying to be there for all these different kids. And on my day, I can see 150 different kids.
Whoa.
So, yeah, it's not one class. It's all different classes.
Right, because
so,
they cycle through.
Yeah. So when I get home and, try to make sure that my own kids get some of me too.
And so okay, you know what that makes me think of? When we get the nominations, there are comments that go with the nominations. And the comment that went along with Jess's was that she is one of the most thoughtful people that this person knows. So that seems to ring true. The fact that you're thinking about your kids and maintaining enough energy to be present for them is an incredibly thoughtful, present way of living.
It's a really nice compliment.
It's
something I try to do, but
it's true. No, that's
it's
not.
hard.
Yeah, that's not easy to do. What would you say? So, some things that I want to ask the dynamic mom. There's a child.
There's
again.
one of them who wants my attention right now. Go in another room, honey. Please.
So, one of the questions that I want to ask our dynamic moms is, what about motherhood inspires you? And I want to give a little background about what I mean by that. So, one of the things that we hope to help people experience with dynamic moms is to see motherhood as kind of an opportunity for possible like reawakening, personal development, personal growth, rebirthing, whatever you want to call it, but a way to kind of reflect back on yourself and use the opportunities that we have in motherhood as personal growth opportunities while we're also there helping our children. Yeah. Is there something about motherhood that inspires you?
I think really just wanting the world to be a good place for the kids and wanting our kids to grow up and, have life better than we've had and easier and everything. They're just wanting all those opportunities for them.
Okay, so would that inspire you? So that kind of sounds like something that might inspire you to, let's say, be more environmentally friendly or something like that.
100%, yeah.
So it inspires you to kind of make the world a better place for your children.
Yeah, and to worry about stuff like that, like worry about the environment, worry about what you're feeding your kids and what they're, all those things. Like with my first, I remember being obsessed with everything that touched him, everything that went in his mouth, and I mean, to the point of making myself crazy over it. And I've calmed down since then. Oh,
there's another one. This one's mine. And you've calmed down since then.
yes.
So what would you, and that actually leads me to another question that I had, but Monet, slow down. So what I want to just kind of go on with before I ask you the next question was, it sounds like what you're saying is that motherhood has inspired you to really develop an awareness of your surroundings and for you to want to make that a better space for yourself and others so that your children have another one, so that your children have a future that is brighter and more comfortable.
Yeah. Okay, that's enough. You guys go play.
Hashtag real life. So, this is the only time he get it done, guys, and that's okay. So you have to just do it. But the question that I had coming from that was, you started talking about you kind of as time went on, you weren't as, I guess I don't know if the word is like obsessed with certain things or
I would use that. Yeah. I think as the kids grow up, you start to realize, like, yes, am I concerned that they're eating, things that are healthier and doing things like that, but that a slip up here and there or, loosening up a little bit they're still fine. They're still fine. They're still growing. They're still healthy. And, I want all those things to be important.
Please stop.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's enough. Go play.
Thank you.
Lost my train of thought.
That's okay. That's what happens. So what you were saying,
all those things are still important, but it's not minute to minute like something I'm stressing over as much as I was when they were infants and just everything seemed overwhelming.
So that also kind of sounds like that's something that doesn't just relate to your kids, but has that spilled over into the way that you cope with life as an individual?
Yes, I think so.
So that would be a way that motherhood has inspired you. Like maybe you're less hyper-focused on something, or maybe less of a perfectionist, would you say?
Yeah, I think you have to be. You have to let stuff go, because if you're trying to be perfect at everything, like, you're just completely overwhelmed.
But what I like that you mentioned, because, being dynamic moms, we have mothers of all different seasons of life. So we have moms in the group who aren't physical moms yet. They have the seed of motherhood where they want to be mothers and they're looking for opportunity to become mothers. We also have mothers who are grandmothers and great-great-great-grandmothers. And something that you talk about, I think, is something that a lot of mothers, when they're new and they have their first babies, really struggle with.
Yeah.
And it's really being like wanting to be perfect.
And I think because you get this little tiny human and you feel like you're responsible for everything about them, that you want to focus on every little detail. You want to make sure everyone who touches them washes their hands, and everybody who, everything that goes near them is good for them.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you.
But they're fine. they really are. Like, as long as you're doing your best and you're, paying attention to them and giving them what they need. Most of the time they're good.
I love that. You're right. As long as you're doing your best.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something to really take home. So, what does being a dynamic mom mean to you?
I think a little bit of that, just trying your best, but I think it's also just having a community of moms around you to lean on, because that's what calms me down, is talking to other people and realizing that I'm not the only one going through these things. And I think that's a lot of what you're trying to do with the website, build that
support.
community and support.
Oh, I'm so glad you feel that way. That's awesome. Do you have anything else you want to mention to anybody, or say anything that you think might be like words of wisdoms, or words of wisdom that you acquired during your years of motherhood so far that you think could help somebody else?
One thing I find that I've been telling people a lot, and especially because I have 3 kids, and people ask me,
And 3 boys.
3 boys. And people, say like, oh, your life must be crazy. You're still a parent from the time they wake up till the time they go to bed, whether you have 1 kid or 2 kids or 3 kids. And yes, my kids are going to bed later now that they're getting older, but no matter how many kids you have, you're still a parent for those hours. And I think there's always time when they're it's crazy. Life is crazy during that time, but they go to bed and you get a few minutes to yourself, and I think no matter how many kids you have, you get that. So
that's something that's important. I think that if you can remember that there will always be some time that you'll have time.
Yeah.
It's something that you kind of have to, in a way, maybe look forward to when you're feeling overwhelmed.
Yes.
Sort of like the sun will come out tomorrow.
Yes.
The sun will go down eventually today.
Yes. And even when the kids are running around and crazy like they are right now.
They are right now.
You can sit with a friend.
Yep, and we're
have
still
a cup of
chatting.
tea.
Yeah. So it is, and that kind of goes back, and I know we're going to be ending soon, but that it seems like there's almost like a theme. So it sounds like something that maybe you had a tendency toward before children, because it was so exaggerated once you had your first child, was maybe things having to be a certain way.
Yes.
And maybe if this conversation took place pre-kids, it might have been much more difficult for you to refocus.
Yeah.
So it sounds like that was that's a life-changing tool for you.
Yeah.
That's been beneficial about
It's finding the balance of how many things you can control and worry about and focus on, and which ones you have to let go because
Prioritize.
to maintain your sanity. Yeah.
prioritize. All right. So there you have it, and we had some words of wisdom. The time will always come that you will have to relax. You are always a parent, but eventually your children will go to bed, and you will definitely be entitled to a minute. So thank you so much for being with us, Jess, and congratulations again.
Thank you.
We're
I'm
so
excited
happy
to
for
try out
you.
all these new things.
Yay! All right, you guys, have a great